Of Kevin Ward Jr. breaks its silence after reaching a settlement with Tony Stewart. They spoke candidly about the incident and court battle with the former NASCAR star tonight. To News Channel 2's Alicia Daddario.
We felt he acted reckless that night and he should have been held responsible.
After years of heartache and legal proceedings, Pam and Kevin Ward Sr. are finally ready to speak out. The publicity that has come along with the tragedy has been overwhelming.
Just losing a son, period, is hard enough without having to deal with everything else on top of that. Definitely couldn't grieve the way I think normal people would have.
And the hate mail we got and the emails we got and all that, just from people that didn't have a clue on what happened that night, but just sticking up for him, you know, that was tough.
The Wards were hoping the justice system would have their back, but after a grand jury declined to charge Stewart, and they were forced to settle their civil suit. Telling their story is how they're seeking justice for Kevin.
We've said all along that we don't feel that Tony intentionally meant to hit Kevin and kill him. We've said that from day one, and we'll hold to that. I don't think he did, but I do think he meant to throw dirt on him, and those were the actions that took my son's life.
Has he reached out to either of you to apologize, to even say sorry for your loss at all?
No, he has not. No. I don't know if him saying sorry would change anything.
In the public eye, Kevin is criticized for two things that fatal night: getting out of the car.
Between the good starting position, his car running the way he wanted it to, you know, he had a really good chance on winning that race, and I think that was one reason why he was so mad. And the last thing he said to us before he went out on the track was, he looked at my husband and he said, "It's going to be a good night tonight, Pa." That was the last he spoke to us. People need to understand, my son getting out of the car was not what caused his death. It only allowed Tony the opportunity to do what he did to him.
And having THC in his system.
Tony was never drug tested. My son didn't have an option whether he was tested or not. They just did it. He stated that Kevin was impaired, that he had to have smoked 5 hours prior to racing. I'll never believe that. We've never had any indication that he would ever do something like that before a race.
Do you ever feel like your son was on trial and not Tony Stewart?
Oh, definitely.
I'll tell you, the DA called me and he says Tony's not going to be charged. We put it in front of the grand jury and they couldn't believe that Kevin got out of his car. I said, it wasn't about my son, it was about what Tony Stewart done.
Reporting in Port Leyden, Alicia Daddario, News Channel 2.